Hello, everybody. It is Saturday, the 24th of August. Now, I want to talk about two things here. Firstly, that we absolutely must get out of worship, and most certainly get out of the worship of the One. I want to show you this here. The other one is that, again, I had a comment saying the soul cannot die, consciousness cannot die. Well, looking at this world right now, I would say consciousness can most certainly die. For most, when you look at most people in this world, their consciousness is dead in the water. But can the soul die? And then really thinking about what is it we're actually doing here. Yeah? What is our purpose? And then I think our purpose will come out of how we define soul. But I will talk about that later on. Now, the worship of the One. And I was thinking about Jesus and what the role of the 12 disciples should have actually been. Yeah? And I was thinking about the description of this throne room in the book of the Revelation. Maybe let's start with that. Because the One, the God in the book of the Revelation, also has 24 elders set around him, around the throne. He also has beasts and other things and angels. And they're all busy shouting glory, hallelujah. Now, the 24 elders, that's actually, again, that would be the equivalent to me, to the disciples. Yeah, the one that surround the One. And then look in the book of the Revelation what they're actually doing. Yeah, and how you could interpret that. I give you a possible interpretation. And maybe one you hadn't thought about before. And that is, so Revelation 4, verse 4. And round about the throne were 24 seats. And upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, crowned in white raiments, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. Now the crown is a reoccurring theme. Also the beast in the book of Revelation has got crowns. It's got horns and it has got crowns. So how do we interpret crown? What is the meaning of crown? Crown of gold. To me, before now, the crown was knowledge. And it says before in the book of the Revelation, I will give you gold forged in fire. That is knowledge grown out of experience. And experience is knowing. Before that, you reason about it. You reason about a possible outcome. Yeah? Once it gets you. Once you're there, you know. So they had gold, crowns of gold, knowledge forged in fire. Knowledge grown out of experience. And I would say what should be again contained in the crown should be wisdom. Would probably be the highest crown that you can gain. Wisdom ruling over knowledge. Wisdom ruling also over desire, as I spoke in the video before. But they were wearing those crowns, yeah, of knowledge and definitely not wisdom. As you will see in the next time they are mentioned, and that is, it starts with verse 9. So it's talking about the beasts, and when those beasts gave glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who lives forever and ever. Yeah? Then the 24 elders fell down before him that sat on the throne, worshipped him that liveth forever and ever, cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, For thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. Again, what is it they're worshipping? A one. That is a being. A being, one. I was thinking, does this text talk about all? No, because all does not have a form of itself, but it is shown in all its different forms. Yeah, so all is not a one. It is many. It is everything. So when they say you are the one, then we're talking about one being. And what are they doing? They're taking off their crowns. They're taking off their knowledge. The knowledge that is grown out of the knowledge of I am. The knowledge, would say, of their souls. And they cast it before the throne. They say, again, we're here. For myself, I ask nothing. I know nothing. You are the one that will tell me. I will take off my crown, my knowledge. Yeah? And I will lay it at your feet. And you can then rule over me. And then I really thought myself, what is the point of having 24 elders sat around you? That should be a council. If the council says, I know nothing, just you tell me, then that is not a council. But that is, again, and at the moment, and you see in this world, the likes of a Klaus Schwab, the likes of corporations, what they elevate to be their true sons, like a Justin Trudeau, are those that have basically no I am whatsoever. Yeah? They can change whichever way the wind blows, whichever way Papa Klaus is blowing. Justin Trudeau will change to be what is required to be. And that is, again, that is the picture in this book. They have no more I am. They have cast their own knowledge away to be ruled over by the one that is so glorious. And again, then, well, I come to that later, consciousness and soul. I just want to talk about Jesus quickly before that, because the same thing happened. And there is really our role there are enlightened ones. Let's say there are enlightened ones. I believe there are. And they have transcended humanness. Yeah? They are transhuman. Basically by shifting their awareness to just one point. With Jesus, it was one thought, one emotion. The desire to serve, the emotion of compassion. And out of that, they gain a very distinct knowledge of one thing. Yeah? So, but what is then our role? Or what was the role of the 12 disciples around him? And was it to worship him? And I mean, the knowledge itself spoke out of him and said, no, don't worship me. Yeah, don't make me king, don't worship me, don't. Of course, the church made him then King of Kings because that's so much better. But what was their role then? Because Jesus at that point was detached from reality. Very much. When you become transhuman, you are detached from reality. And I think the role of a council, or the role of the 12 disciples, would be, yes, first of all, to look after him. Yeah? Because, again, it is what the Hermetics say, the further out you go, and that is definitely a way where you can go far out, the less you are capable of, living life. So, yeah, they should have definitely looked after him, and encouraged him in a way, yes, absolutely, given of their energy and encouragement for what he was doing. But looking after something also means restraining it when it goes the wrong way, which Jesus obviously could no longer see. And that is exactly what happened, because at some point he lost the plot. Sin, being on the mark, being on point of what it is you're doing. The point of the whole exercise was, from the beginning, that the knowledge should come to earth to serve here. The knowledge became flesh, and then the flesh should serve here. And that is what Jesus did for the longest part. And he was on point. Yeah? And he was within the plot, which was, brings a knowledge that would serve here on earth. And then he lost the plot. When he came up with this, when this thought of this kingdom came into. And I dare say, because he was an open channel, that thing crept in. And he started working on that. There must be a kingdom. We must all go there. We must all be in service to the one. Again, here we go. And what happened then? When he went toward Jerusalem, to be afflicted, gloriously afflicted, and Peter was behind him saying, I hope that will not happen. Yeah? And Jesus turned around and says, get ye behind me, Satan. What did Peter do? He recoiled. Absolutely recoiled. Oh my God, Satan is speaking out of me. I'm evil. I'm possessed. Let's go back to worshipping the one. Know that what he's doing is right. Just believe. It may seem evil unto you that he should be nailed to a cross, but, let him go into the darkness and know that there will be light at the end. Or was he still grounded in the knowledge of a human being, whereas his master, who had become transhuman and was no longer grounded in reality, was off to do something completely stupid, and he should have held him back. Peter, may have been the embodiment of Satan at that moment, of a restraining force, but it was pathetic at best. Yeah, it was a very pathetic attempt. I really wish you wouldn't do that. Whereas he should have actually stood firm and turned him around and pointed him back to the point of the whole exercise. You've just lost the point, darling. Come back. So then when we look at the enlightened ones, and I'd say, well, first of all, we cannot see them in this world, can we? Because they have well hidden themselves away, and they make stupid hand signs toward of our evil eye, our restraining force. Yeah? No, don't you dare let them see you and hold you back. Whatever you do, you are the one that is off into something, and you are right. So it's very hard to see them for us to become as a restraining force, but right now that is what we must do, because they have obviously lost the plot. Yeah? So that is really, it is the function of the council, not to worship, but to know what is happening, for starters. That is that they have shifted consciousness and then really transcended a human state. They became something else. That they are extremely vulnerable at that point. That is, actually, we should really look at them as extremely vulnerable people, because they are. They've become special and now they're vulnerable. And yes, we should, those that are still grounded in the knowledge of life, of reality, of being a human being, they should not blindly worship what they're doing, but we should be the counsel, and if necessary, restrain them. Both giving of our energy toward the effort, but restraining whenever we see something going wrong. which again in this world, it is very hard to do because we only see the outcome, which is lunacy at the moment, which is utterly destructive. That is the outcome. We do not see the ones that, now let's say there's more than one, that have become transhuman, that are now at the top of the pyramid, unseen by us, and that have the council of complete idiots that will just stand there like deers in the headlights saying, oh, how glorious it all is, without engaging their brain. And it is really a point of engaging your good brain and knowing, that you know something. You're not nothing. And you have learned out of experience as pure gold. That knowledge is gold, and that is your crown, and you should wear it. But it really is, this. The text show you a certain thing happening, and then you should discern good and bad. What does it do? What should the surrounding people do? And where should it serve? But we are now all on this way where they say, oh, we all must become Justin Trudeau, really. Do away with self. Become a shapeshifter, really. Become that which can be whatever to serve the one. One of the ways is obviously, again, that there's the teaching in Vedanta that is now everywhere. Go out there into all. And the teaching says, now listen to this, you get to a point where nothing knows and nothing is being known. There is no observer, there is nothing to be observed. And then you'll be told that is the highest point of wisdom. Okay. So what should you do with that? They say, well, it's the highest point of wisdom, let's all go there. Yeah? Let's all go to the point where we no longer know ourselves and we know nothing. And really then, I don't know, the highest point of wisdom is knowing nothing. Okay? Or should you say, well, it is now known, somebody experienced it, somebody brought that knowledge into this world, that you can reach a point, yeah, when nothing knows, you no longer exist, nothing knows, nothing is being known. And would wisdom then tell you, actually, don't go there? Is that what that teaching should tell you? Don't go there. Not let's all go there. Now let's talk about again, soul and consciousness, where I've been told they cannot die. Right. It really depends on how you define soul. Is soul an individual part? A soul, an individual soul. In which case it is I am. Yeah? It is the knowledge of I am that is the soul. And if you are conscious in this world, means you know you have a soul that is I am. So then if consciousness dies in this world because it's been told it is nothing, or it's been driven out into infinity and beyond, what happens to the soul? Yeah? And the soul itself, I would say, is not awareness of all. Again. But it may be awareness, knowledge of several lifetimes, which is still restricted to something, it's not all. So what happens when awareness of now loses contact with knowledge of soul? Yeah, the two get disconnected. which in this world I think most of them are, and the body dies in this world, soul goes on. Well, soul will then probably create another body or go into another body to have another experience. Because there are different levels of heaven in most teachings, apart obviously Christianity or Judaism or anything, the Judeo-Christian tradition, where there's only one heaven ruled over by the one. In most other teachings, there are several levels. And when you say several levels of heaven, that is several levels of knowing. That means several levels of soul, because it is a soul that knows. It is that which knows. So then, yes, we are bringing experience and knowledge to the soul. But are we then just avatars that suffer and experience pain, and it doesn't matter as long as the soul gets some knowledge up there? Or should the soul actually look after its avatar? Yeah, does it have some responsibility? Or is it just there to, again, is the soul there to rule over the avatar and send it here, there, everywhere, and it doesn't matter? Well, maybe the soul cannot die, consciousness most certainly can. And what if consciousness becomes trapped in you know nothing? Your knowledge is nothing. You are enslaved as the slave of the one that will tell you what to do and where to go. And if it keeps being entrapped in that thing, then what does it feed its soul? What knowledge does it feed its soul? The knowledge of slavery, of being a slave. And that if that's the only food, the only goal, the only knowledge out of experience that the soul receives, will that in the end create the soul? The soul itself will become a slave. I don't know if the soul can die. Jesus said, beware of those that kill the soul. And then if you say soul has to be linked with consciousness of I am, then when that no longer exists, the soul no longer exists. And then you would say, could maybe say the soul still exists as the knowledge, the knowledge of experience of all of those lifetimes, but you no longer own the knowledge. You no longer exist. And then that knowledge is picking for the crows. Yes, I think if you say the soul has to be linked with I am, then yes, the soul can die. It will still exist as knowledge of experience, but you no longer own it. And again, do you have a right to own your knowledge? Do you have the right to be I am? I think, yeah. Then the first thing we must get out of is worship. To prevent the death of the soul, we must get out of worship. We must wear the crowns of our knowledge, saying I am, and we must speak up. We must. And we shall not say that those that are enlightened, or they know it all, no they don't. They have transcended humanity, and they can be potentially extremely dangerous. They're also very vulnerable, and we must be their restraining force. And especially now, if humanity goes into a time where some of us may work that way and become transcendent, then those that are still around us must know that they should look after us, not worship and follow us blindly because we are not to be followed. We bring back a knowledge, but that knowledge is not all. And we will be vulnerable. And we must know, those that are around us must know that they're there to look after us, to restrain us if possible. I mean, it's like taking a really potent drug. Yeah? I know, like these people that go into the jungle and take this really potent drug, there are always people around that will look out for those that have taken the drug, because in case they would do something totally stupid and hurt themselves or kill themselves. And it's actually pretty much the same principle. So no, don't worship the one. Listen to what he says, see to what point that knowledge can actually work in this world, and look out for them, because they're no longer completely there. And you should protect them. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.